That's it. That's it. Let's go. Practice fast.
Oscar Spittler.
Sick.
Bryce Mullen. What's he doing?
It's an injury, leg injury.
Expecting that soon.
I hope so.
What does Will Allen need to do to continue his ascent? I know he's recovering from the injury. Is that the biggest aspect of that?
Yeah, I think, as I said yesterday, you know, the Will Allen we saw in the spring and the Will Allen that I'm watching right now, a little bit two different guys. The guy in the spring wasn't quite ready, wasn't quite full speed. You know, watching him now, I think he's moving around a little bit better, you know, but I mean, obviously Will's a veteran player and a good player for us. You know, these two young kids went in there and played well as well, so it creates competition at the position. But I just think that everybody's going to get an at-bat back there, and we're going to pick the best two guys and let them play.
Let's talk about the offensive line and just the depth of talent that you have there. And it's a good problem to have, but at the same time, how tough is it to start making decisions?
It's a good problem to have, yeah. It's a good problem to have if they play good, you know, if that depth plays like depth. That being said, I like the bodies that are there right now. We'll see what happens when we get in the games. It makes for hard decisions, which is good. You know, we're not sure how many of those guys you can keep. All I know is we went through an awful lot of them last year. You know, and at one point in the season, wish we had about 5 or 6 more. So, you know, if you have them, it's hard to get rid of them. You know, so I'm glad we have them right now.
Tony, last season, Anthony Sparano had a drop in the numbers, and you mentioned multiple times that his role had sort of changed based on 2008 to last year. He was doing some different things. Do you foresee him maybe getting back the numbers he had in 08, or is it going to be more the same from last year?
Well, I mean, that depends. I mean, Anthony is he's a good player because he can do a lot of jobs. You know, he can do a lot of things. He protects well. You know, he can play in the backfield some and out of the backfield. You can put him out, you know, away from the formation, and then he can play with his hand in the ground in the pass game. So he does a few things, I think, that help you that way. The problem is, depending on play, you know, and this is just a problem in any tight end situation. You want to put the best guy that you have blocking and the best guy that you have, you know. So sometimes those things don't, you know, it doesn't get Anthony the football. All right, we'd like to have that problem where we can get him away from the formation and get him the ball. I like the way some of the things are happening out here right now at the position, so that helps us a little bit. We've got a lot of time. We'll see.
Do you feel like a guy like Hanos could open that up a little bit?
Well, you know, Joey had that one stretch last year where he had to play for Anthony, and that helped us because we got a chance to see Joey as a Y, as an on-the-line of scrimmage player. You know, and now all of a sudden now Bone has come in here and he's done some things, and Sperry has done some things. And, you know, this now Bone is an interesting guy because he takes a lot of reps at 2 different positions. So, you know, I mean, if we could find some of those guys that can do as many jobs as Fasano can do, that helps us now say, hey, where can we put Anthony on this play? It's kind of, you know, like Brandon Marshall. When you're throwing the ball, you want to say, okay, where's he go? So.
Patrick Turner is an important camp for him. Seems like he's made some real nice plays. Actually.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he made a play out here yesterday. That was a good play where he had to go up, get the ball. He did, you know, ended up falling on his back and all that good stuff. So, you know, we got that thing out of the way, and, you know, he's coming out here and made a couple nice plays this morning. So I like what he's done right now. You know, we're trying to get him in the mix a lot so that we can get a good picture out of him right now because we didn't get it during the spring. So we're trying to get as many reps as we can with him. He's done a good job mentally right now. You know, there's still some little bit of ring rust in there right now from not being out there in the spring, but he's working through it and he's done a nice job.
Has he at all made himself more versatile in terms of special teams and things like
Well, you know, I mean, he was always, I think, a guy that we thought could help us on teams. You know, we felt like there were some jobs Pat could do on special teams. In fact, you know, that's the only way we ever got him to the game. When we got him to the game, it was kind of as a special teams guy, we put him in the game. We really weren't able, while he was at the game, to get him active, you know, and to get him going in the football game a little bit. He played a little bit more on special teams. So we think he can do some jobs that way. you know, this kid's helped himself from a physical standpoint. He's gotten stronger, you know, and it's hard to believe, but through this injury, you know, he seems to be running better.
Tony, whose idea was feed the wolf, and what does it mean?
Well, Feed the Wolf was my idea, and it came full circle when we started talking about, you know, our 7-9 season from a year ago, and that not being good enough, and you know, and that we should be hungry, and we talk about feeding this wolf with small successes every day. Today was a good day. This morning was a good day. So this team had a lot of energy this morning, practiced hard, and we got some things accomplished on both sides of the ball. So from an enthusiasm standpoint and an effort standpoint, we fed the wolf a little bit, had a little success, you know. So we'll see. Those small successes can equal big successes down the road, and that might sound like garbage, it might sound like all that, but it starts with small successes.
Do you have like 20 of those shirts? Because you wear them every day.
I have a few different sizes.
What does Donald Thomas need to do this camp to kind of regain the
Needs to be consistent. You know, I think that's the biggest thing in that area. So Donald's done some nice things at times. So, you know, and I think right now we're looking for better than at times from any of those guys. So it's not just only Donald, but he is in a rotation right now, and consistency, I think, at that position is what will separate them. You know, one thing that Donald has, you know, that if not a lot of guys have up there, is he has the ability to really move you. I mean, this is a powerful, powerful guy. So, you know, I just like to see him be more consistent that way with his power. I mean, you have a strength, use that strength and be consistent with it.
So what went into thinking to move him to the left side after you kind of scrapped that plan earlier in?
Well, I mean, what we did is we got a bunch of reps out of him. We felt like early on in the process, and then, you know, moved him to the right side a little bit. Wanted to see a few other guys on the left, and then made an evaluation at the end that, quite honestly, he played better on the left at the time. So we felt like, let's move him over there and let's see him you know, play at his best right now on the left side. In the meanwhile, we had already started the process of taking a look at John Jerry over there at the right. So I'm not saying that's the way it's going to stay.
Tony, among those guards, it seems as though Jerry has taken the most snaps with the first team. And is that the case? And if so, why? Is it physical or better?
That is the case, and the if so is because I really just, it's a great opportunity for me to watch this guy against the best people that we have. So I want to see him out there. You know, I have a body of work on Donald Thomas in games. I've seen him play in games. You know, I mean, Richie Incognito has started a lot of games in this league, so I've seen that. But John Jerry playing against the best people that I could get him against, and putting him, you know, today he was in a pressure situation out there, and I mean, you know, I'm not telling anybody that anything they don't know if you were watching practice, but, you know, he had an error in one of those pressure situations. I want him in that position now. I told the entire team last night, I want the practice to be as hard as it can be mentally, physically on you so the game is easy. John Jerry is a good example of that right now. Hardest people to play against, hardest situations in practice. That's kind of what I want to see out of him.
So it's not necessarily that he's the starting guard at this point.
No, I would say that's I wouldn't say that right now.
What are you looking for in that battle? I mean, you've got all that whole murky situation with the guards in the center.
Yeah.
What are you looking for to put together a unit, and when do you get concerned about the chemistry of the line?
Let me start by saying this. It goes back to the question here. Okay, I feel like there's good depth at this position. Hard decisions to be made. Okay, now what am I looking for? I'm looking for the two most consistent players. Okay, I think I got it right now on whether or not they're tough guys or they're not tough guys. I feel like I understand that. Okay, consistency, efficiency in job description, okay, is important for me right now at that position. So I need to see that right now, and I think they're getting plenty of reps. I mean, if you know, you go right, to be honest with you, who's first right now and who's second doesn't matter. If I showed you the reps right now, you would laugh at how ridiculously close it is amongst who's playing first and who's playing second right now.
So, Chuck, how do you say that? What is the difference between rookie mistakes? You know what I mean? Where you can say a guy's a rookie, okay, when you have to see that.
Well, I just think that the rookie mistakes are things that are going to happen fast in chaotic situations during the course of practice. You know, those are the things that I think the veteran player, you know, guy like Berger, Grove, Jake Long, they don't make those kind of mistakes. You know, they really don't. But, you know, the young guy mistake to me is one of these flat out and out, I go the wrong ways, those type of things. You know, those are the young guy mistakes sometimes where the install catches them. You know, it's just a lot of stuff and it's hard to digest in that, you know, 15 seconds, 13 seconds that their hand is in the ground when everything is moving.
Having said that, with John Jerry, you said he made a mistake, but for the most part, he impressed with how much he.
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, you know, in the beginning of OTAs, he had this period where he was making some of those kind of mistakes, and then it slowed down for him tremendously. In other words, he went through 6, 7 practices. There was none of those. You know, Rashad Jones is another guy like that. Okay, where right now Jerry, you know, in the first however many, what did we practice? This number 5. Okay, in 5 practices, you know, you're seeing minimal errors that way. So the good news is there's recall from the first time around. You know, he made some of those mistakes earlier in OTAs. He's not making them now.
With Incognito, you said during OTAs you're going to keep a close eye on him. You joked that you're going to call him Richie Sparano.
Yeah.
How's he doing? Is he behaving?
He's doing good, yeah, he's behaving. So, you know, we got into a little pushing and shoving out there the other day, but that's normal pushing and shoving. But Richie's doing a good job. You know, I don't want Richie to feel for 1 second like, you know, I'm the vulture over his back or any of those things. I mean, Richie understands where I'm coming from. He knows what it is that we have to do. And more importantly, he knows what he has to do. You know, I mean, this is, you know, I think that, you know, Richie understands clearly what he has to do. So.
Tony, with your 3rd year in the league right now, I mean, guys like Incognito and Brandon Marshall, guys with histories, how have you developed your ability to manage egos and guys like that with reputations that aren't maybe so savory? I mean, how do you manage?
I try to stay as consistent as I can with them. So consistent in giving them the message, tell them the truth. Sometimes it ain't always what they want to hear, and I tell them that. I mean, I've told Richie Incognito, Brandon Marshall, whenever we visited, okay, Grant and Douglas, these guys, I mean, same thing. You know, it's just we're going to be consistent in our message. Some days you're not going to like me. You're not, and it's not a popularity contest. I really don't care about that as long as the message is crystal clear. So I'm going to give you the message. Some days you're not going to like it, okay, but every day you'll respect it. And that's the way that we operate. So, I mean, I think that with that way there are no real egos. I think if you're telling them straight up, they get it. And, you know, as far as that goes, I'd rather be managed that way than the other way and have a lot of smoke blown at me.
Going back to the rookie hazing, and does that serve a purpose for chemistry or any other thing?
I've seen it in all different ways, Armando. You know, some of it, to be honest with you, I think is ridiculous and it can get carried away, and some of it I think is good fun. You know, I mean, Ivy carrying a bunch of shoulder pads on him. Shoot, he made ESPN. He was on TV a little while ago. You guys thought it was great. So, I mean, but, you know, I think that stuff's all in good fun, and I do think that at times that's good for chemistry and bonding, you know, but some of it can get carried away, and if I feel like it's crossing the line, I get involved in it. Other than that, try not to.
Do you